Hello, everybody. It's the old bear from the old bear's den of Bigfoot. And while I'm waiting on my better half, I figured I could bring y'all an encounter of a younger couple in their early 30s in Georgia built a big home. But the whole backside of their house, well, most of the backside of the house, is full of windows. In fact, the master bedroom is all windows. There's a garden tub in the, or jacuzzi or something there in the bedroom. And they have a master bath in there, and it's got windows that are just halfway up the wall. Not the whole wall is windows. Anyway, they built this home. They cleared out approximately 4 acres of forest. The gentleman, he's well off. He is a doctor. His wife's an anesthesiologist. And she's a buck 25, soaking wet with all of her clothes on. Pretty lady. So, I spoke to him via the phone with a video call. And they seem to be having trouble with a group of big hairy creatures. And what started all off was, they never had anything happen when the house was being built, which is kind of strange. But they had a house christening party with 6 of their friends. And after the house was built, they had all furnished. They were showing the house off to their 6 friends. They had dinner out on the patio, stone patio, which has a in-ground jacuzzi on it that's heated and everything, and all of that nice stuff is done. And they had this very nice cookout with their friends, and trust me, it was not hamburgers and hot dogs, was not what they were serving. It was salmon. And here comes the missus. Anyway, I was just telling them about the couple in Georgia that built their huge home. Remember that one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Have a seat, Mrs. Bear.
Yes.
And we'll get going with this.
Yes.
And they had salmon. Oh, jeez. They had salmon and everything that goes with salmon. I mean, they had a chef come in and cook all this stuff, and they did all of that, and they had to cook out, and it got later in the evening, and I guess around 9 or 10 o'clock it was dark, and they had music playing on the stereo system that is hooked into the house, and they didn't have it turned way up, but they had it turned up. There's no one that has property within a half a mile of them, and they had it turned up a little bit, and they were listening to it. And one of the husband's friend's wives, his wife said, "Honey, did you hear that?" And he's like, "No." "What was it?" "I don't know, but it sounded like somebody was screaming." And so somebody, the lady, the wife of the doctor, went inside and turned the radio off. She got up and ran inside, came back out, and as soon as she walked outside, this thing screamed again. And they all heard it. And at this point, a few people got a little bit scared. They're not from the countryside. They're all city people. And, they were born and raised inside the city. And so this was going on, and it screamed 3 or 4 times. And finally, everybody kind of got up and said, "Well, I think we're going to go home. Y'all enjoy your house. Love you guys, mean it, but we got to go." And they kind of all left. Well, they all drove down the way out and left. Well, it quit screaming when everybody left, and they turned the music off. When all the people left, it shut up. Didn't make any more screams or anything else. So the husband and wife went upstairs. It's a 2-story home. It's huge. 3 bedrooms on the second floor, and there are 2 on the first floor, plus a huge living room, a huge kitchen, and washroom, and everything. And there's a game room on the first floor. And on the second floor, there's 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths, and there is a sitting room that is attached. It's right beside the bedroom, but the wall runs all the way down, and you can walk into the bedroom from the sitting room via a door. But like I said, all this has glass as a wall, pretty much. The second floor is pretty much all glass on that side of the house, on the back side of the house. So, because they got the house positioned to where when the sun comes up, it comes up over the mountainside, and it's a beautiful scene. And that's what the wife wanted, and that's what the wife got. But here's the key note about the wife. She's a redhead. I'm not downgrading because I was a redhead when I was a child. So, anyways, they go into the home, go to their master bedroom, turn the lights on, and she goes in and she's going to take a shower, and then they're going to get ready and go to bed. And she went in and took her shower, and when she come out of the shower, ladies, I'm going to say this in a nice way. Put some dadgum clothes on when you come out of your bathroom. If something screams in your backyard or near your home, put clothes on, ladies. Anyways, she went into the bedroom and she walked over and sat down on her husband's lap, and they were chit-chatting. Yes, she was naked. I know. Some people don't know any better. She's from the city. She's not a country person. And here's another keynote that I'll give you. There is a 3-inch wrought iron fence all the way around the cleared part of their property. They own more property outside of the fence. They own something like 100 and some acres in there. And the house took up, I think, 5. It could have been between 4 and 6 acres is what the house sits on, plus all their yard in the back. And there's somewhere like 150 yards to the fence line from the back door. So 450 feet. Anyways, like I said, there's a 3-inch wrought iron fence around the property, right up to the wood line. all the way around the property, around the house. Now they're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden they hear something screaming. Now this is supposed to be a sound deadened home, meaning no sound from outside comes in. But they could hear this thing screaming, and jumps up. Of course, he dumps his wife into the floor when he jumped up. And she complains a bit, but she's like, "What is that? What is screaming?" And he goes over and he flicks two switches or buttons or something, and the lights come on out the back of the house. Well, lo and behold, there is something standing there in the yard, and it's lit up, and it's got its hands over top of its eyes, trying to shield its eyes. And finally, it takes its hands down, and they see the hair on the arms and across its chest and over its head, and the hair kind of looks like it's got wings, is what the wife called it, because it goes straight out to the shoulders. It don't go straight down, it goes straight out to the shoulders because of the muscle structure on a Bigfoot's head and up through their back. And this thing is muscle upon muscle, is what she said. And they guessed the height to be somewhere around 7 feet, because they were looking down on it. They really couldn't judge, they're not really good at judging height. And whenever this thing finally took its hands down, it started screaming again. And he is bamboozled, didn't know what it was. She didn't know. And at this point, they are concerned. So they flipped the lights off in the house and flipped the lights off outside in that order, which probably helped because the Bigfoot was probably still blinded and the wife had dove into the bed. And there were still lights on the fence that were on. But he noticed something strange. One of the lights on the fence wasn't working. Well, what he didn't know was that he didn't know until the next day when he went out there and went riding around and checking the fence, that the fence had been bent over. That's the reason the light was not shining. So that was their initial scare, the first night that they actually spent in the house together and had friends over. And since then, they have found 2 other places in the wrought iron fence that have been pushed over. And for a total of 3 places, about 4 foot wide, are pushed over. Like something took it and just pushed it over like it was a piece of plastic. There isn't very many creatures out there that can do that. A bear probably can never do that. I'm pretty darn sure that there's no polar bears in Georgia. There's no grizzlies in Georgia. So it doesn't leave very much. But on subsequent nights, when him and the wife are at home, for a grand total of 6 different times now, they have seen these creatures run through their yard, and they have seen up to, 4 creatures that I told you?
Yeah, I think so.
4 creatures at one time there in the backyard, screaming because she walks through the bedroom with nothing on. And in the phone call, I said, "Ma'am, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm going to tell you this right here and right now. Put a robe around you and keep it closed, and get a big thick robe to where they won't be able to see your body build, because that is why they're standing out there screaming when you show up with the lights on in your bedroom and come out of your master bathroom. So, I hope you enjoy this one. I gave them a few ideas on what to do. And I hope and pray that God blesses each and every one of you each and every day of your lives. Because it won't be too long before Christ comes back.
Amen.
Y'all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.